So interestingly, I actually, the topic that I have been thinking about a lot um, may support people in dealing with the weather and the way it is right now. I've kind of realized that being here in Costa Rica, even in being in a beautiful place like this, even in good weather, my mind can either be in a place of contentment or it can be in a place of you know, inner strife and resisting what is. Um, and we can do this anywhere. We can connect with, and the tricky thing about this topic. So the reason this came up for me is there is this deck of cards here that has a bunch of different yogic principles on it. And I pulled the Santosha card, and Santosha means contentment. And so that's what we're gonna work with today. And what I want to be really careful about in doing this is that I'm not suggesting that we disallow our feelings, that we disallow sadness or grief or any of that. This is more about working with the mind and the way that the mind, I think I'm just going to read the card because it's way wiser than I am. And so I invite you actually to let's drop in first. Let's just do a brief connect to self, and then I would invite you to receive the teachings while staying inwardly connected. So I'm going to read the guidance about santosha or contentment, this yogic principle, and then I would invite you just to sit with it and let it land in your system, in your body, while staying connected to your breath and your body. So let's first drop into the breath and body. And let's do that first with a deep belly breath. So a deep breath into your belly where the belly is going to expand on the in breath. So if you want, put your hand on your belly. Belly button moves forward on the in breath. So your belly is getting bigger on the in breath. You're breathing quite deeply into the belly, eyes open or closed, whatever you feel most comfortable with. And then the out breath is just a letting go. So the efforting is on the in breath in this type of breathing. And as you feel the out breath released from your body, notice how you can lean into that sense of letting go. You can feel how the shoulders automatically drop with the in breath, or excuse me, with the out breath. How the belly softens. And if you know Ujjayi breathing, you can do that on the out breath, where it's sort of like Darth Vader breathing, where you constrict the back of your throat a little bit. So it would almost be like if you wanted to like warm your hands up, but with your nose. You're kind of like doing a Darth Vader out breath, and it slows down the out breath. If this is confusing, don't worry about it. So if Ujjayi breathing is accessible to you today, you're breathing in through the nose, deep into the belly. And you're breathing out slowly through the nose, letting go, feeling the body let go with the out breath. Tune into the breath, your breath as it is, and welcoming in this deeper sort of breathing. And connect with your seat. So whether you're lying down or standing up or sitting, connect with a point in the lower half of your body. Maybe it's your sacrum, your sits bones, your butt. Maybe it's your legs or your feet. Connect with a part of the body that you actually can feel and it feels somewhat grounded, somewhat safe, grounded, neutral. And bring your awareness to that point in your body. And if you feel very ungrounded right now, see if you can sit with your feet or your butt on the floor. So feet planted on the ground, and see if you can get a sense of a point of groundedness, whether it's your 2 feet or whether it's your butt, the bottom of your spine. So your awareness is sort of with the breath, and then it goes to this spot in the body. So you've got these 2 points that you're aware of the breath for a moment, for a full breath maybe, and then you move your awareness to this point of groundedness, this point of safety in your own body. Even if it's like 1% centeredness, 1% groundedness, see if you can connect to just that 1%. And then I'd invite you to expand your awareness from that point of groundedness and just see what body sensations are here today. See what it's like to be in this body and your body today. See if you can welcome what's here. Notice if there's a desire to wall off or resist certain body sensations. Super normal. No need to judge or beat up on yourself. And notice if there is judgment, like I should be able to do this, and welcome that your experience. It's all part of the experience of being you right now. What is it like to be you right now? And can you lean into things as they are, noticing how the mind wants it to be different, maybe noticing how the mind judges, I should be better, I should be different, and allowing the mind to just do that and seeing that as well, including that in your awareness of your current present moment experience. So you're allowing sensation to arise, you're with it, And then you're noticing you're going back intentionally to the point of groundedness or to the breath as a way to stay anchored in the present moment as well. Notice your face, notice your mouth. Most of us are holding tension, tightness in the jaw. Just notice if that's present today for you. You don't need to necessarily fix or change it, but just noticing as you bring awareness to these parts of your body that may be holding tension or tightness, you may notice that they need some support. Parts of your body might need some extra love or nurturing. I'll often place my hands on my cheeks. I often am holding a lot of tension in my jaw. So feel free to put hands on your body if your body is needing some extra support in a given area, if you notice resistance or tightness. It's like using your hand to sort of say, "Oh, sweetheart, yeah, it's okay. I'm with you." You don't have to change. You don't have to go away. I'm just here with you and feeling you. And then doing the same with the emotional layer of your being. Are there emotions present for you today? They might have words, they might just show up as sensations in the body. Might be a lot of emotions or very little or none. You may feel numb or disconnected or neutral. And so seeing if you can allow yourself again to just be as you are, meeting yourself with this combination of emotional and physical energy that you're here with today, and seeing if you can just allow it to be as it is. We're often leaning or trying or striving for the next thing, the next feeling. If only I could feel better, happier, more joyful, more lighthearted, whatever it may be. And when we do that, when we disallow our present moment experience, it has the opposite effect of what we're wanting. We're wanting to move through something challenging and get rid of it. And in my experience, it has the exact opposite effect. See if you can just be with your body and your emotions as they are, with kindness through your hands, through your breath, breathing into difficulty. And maybe it's a really joyful day for you today. Maybe there's a lot of ease. We don't have to conjure up difficulty either. If ease is here today, be with ease. Breathe in the ease. And it's usually not one thing or the other, it's usually a mix of things. Just opening to your present moment experience as it is. And noticing if there are parts of you that want to reject certain elements or energies in your experience, and noticing that too. It's all part of being human. Maybe in order to really support your emotions, your emotional self, your physical self, your body, maybe you need to move. Maybe you need to adjust or stretch or roll your shoulders. So listening to what the body needs, attending to your body and your emotions. It's part of attuning to ourselves, attuning to our needs. And most of us didn't get good attunement because most parents, when they have their children, they don't know how to attune yet. So really starting to learn to be your own best mother and father on this journey of becoming our own best mother and father. Nobody had perfect parents, and some struggled more than others. And then noticing the mind. What's going on in there today? Witnessing your own mind. Maybe you've got a recurrent thought or recurrent story going in your mind that the mind wants to come back to and focus on. Oftentimes, if we're struggling, I've found it for myself, if I'm struggling, my mind wants to come up with a solution to get me out of that feeling. So usually if my mind is very, very busy, it's because I'm trying to avoid a certain emotion. So if your mind happens to be very busy today, see if there's something you're running away from in your experience. See if there's something that you're disallowing in your experience. And if you feel up for it, just see if you can, rather than disallowing, see if you can softly lean in to whatever it is that you might be running from or avoiding. If the mind is moving fast, it's often this. Not always, but often. And use your hands and use your breath to support yourself, to bring a little bit more kindness, a little more self-compassion, a little more love to your present moment experience. noticing self-judgment, just noticing it if it's there, if it shows up in the body. And just again and again noticing like, oh, getting curious. What is self-judgment like? What is self-criticism if it's here? So that's what you're just doing. You're exploring. You're an inner explorer, bringing curiosity, seeing if you can connect with the body sensations. When we witness the body sensations, these younger parts, these wounded parts, they often feel seen and met if we do this again and again. And then we can act more from an adult space than our inner child space. These inner children, they just want to be met, they want to be felt, and they show us often how they're feeling through the body. We get scared and we think we're lazy or ungrounded or whatever the self-criticism might be saying, unmotivated, but it's usually just a child part or a younger part or a wounded part that is needing something. See if you can tend to yourself today. And use the breath. The breath is connected to source, soul, divine, whatever word you want to use, believe in. The breath is a through line to the present moment and therefore to our higher selves, our wisdom, our inner healer. All of these words work. God, whatever word you like to use, the breath is connected. The breath is present moment. So use the breath or the body, the awareness of like a grounded part, a stable part. Use these tools, these touch points to connect you with your own innate goodness. It's always there. And as you continue to connect inwardly, I'm going to read to you about santosha. It's a Sanskrit word from the Yoga Sutras. It's a combination word in Sanskrit derived from sam, meaning completely, altogether, or entirely, and tosha, meaning contentment, satisfaction, acceptance, being comfortable. Letting that land in your body. Santosha. From an attitude of contentment, santosha, unexcelled happiness, mental comfort, joy, and satisfaction is obtained. Contentment is the feeling of satisfaction with things as they are. It arises naturally whenever you are at rest in your inner space. Take a moment and reconnect with the breath, the body, your sense of your own inner space in this moment, allowing everything to just come and go, be as it is. Doesn't mean you have to feel joyful or happy or grateful. It's actually being with exactly what is. So in the midst of rage, you could feel santosha. You could feel contentment. Just being with what is. Contentment is the feeling of satisfaction with things as they are. It arises naturally whenever you are at rest in your inner space. When you want what you already have and allow what you want to come to you, you'll experience contentment. Let that land. Just let the words land. You don't have to remember them. You don't have to write them down. Just let these words of wisdom land in your being. You don't have to agree with them. You might experience contraction. Just be with whatever the bodily reaction is. Just noticing, witnessing, whatever it may be. Practicing being with what is, what already is. Why is this important on the yogic path? Compulsive desire for external objects and superficial experiences creates an inner restlessness that disconnects you from the subtle awareness of the universal flow. Compulsive desire for external objects and superficial experiences creates an inner restlessness that disconnects you from the subtle awareness of the universal flow, forming obstacles to the deeper fulfillment you really seek. Breathe into that. So this is the human experience. This is the awakening, right? And it doesn't happen overnight. And it's not about perfecting anything. It's starting to become aware of when I am wanting things to be different than the way they are, and having a story that if only I have the perfect partner, or if only my relationship with my daughter is this way, then I can be happy. So the word dukkha, often translated as suffering, can also be defined as unsatisfactoriness. So feel into your body. What does that feel like? Dukkha, unsatisfactoriness, this inner restlessness, this nagging discontent we tend to feel beneath the surface of our lives, like always more, always different. We all know this inner restlessness. It is a normal part of being on the human journey. And the more we bring awareness to it, the more it can transform naturally. So feel it in your body. What does this unsatisfactoriness feel like in your body? This nagging discontent that we have a lot of the time. Right underneath the surface of our lives. And what we do is, rather than accepting the reality of this moment, we try to change it according to our ideas, attitudes, and our expectations. If only I was in a different place. If only this were different. If only my husband would clean up after himself. If only I had a partner. Often the outcome, so this thing that we think we have to have, or this that way that we need to change sometimes it's about perfecting ourselves, and often the outcome is not what we really wanted anyways, and the cycle of discontent continues. So the invitation here with santosha, with this quality that we can cultivate, is to open your mind, let go of your ideas and judgments again and again, and embrace what is here rather than chasing what isn't. Opening the mind, repetitively becoming aware of your ideas and your judgments and your subtle things that aren't right that we all carry around with us most of the time. And the invitation to him is to embrace what is here in this moment for you right now, rather than chasing what isn't here. The invitation is, instead of being attached to a specific outcome, you could act without expectations because you see what needs to be done. So you're still going to take action. You're still going to hope for things, but it's the releasing of the attachment to a specific outcome. Very, very difficult to do. This is an advanced, practice. Connecting to your breath, checking in with your body. How is this landing in you? Just seeing if you can literally practice this right now. What's here right now? And then it's an important part of a yogi's contentment relies on maintaining a sameness of mind, regardless of our external circumstances. So notice they're not saying a sameness of emotion. They're saying a sameness of mind. It's recognizing that we really don't know why things happen, and maybe leaning in a little bit more to trust or surrender that maybe there is some force that is guiding things, even when it looks super messy and uncomfortable. And leaning into this idea that we can welcome things into our experience when they're happening. So the affirmation that they suggest is, if it comes, let it come. If it stays, let it stay. If it goes, let it go. If it comes, let it come. If it stays, let it stay. And if it goes, let it go. It's one way to work with the mind. And welcoming the body sensations and welcoming the emotions and welcoming the mind how it is too. You don't have to fix anything. But just being aware of that subtle restlessness that I certainly have, and most people are still working with that. So, that being said, it's important not to confuse desire with aspiration or complacency with contentment. We are born adventurers and thus experience fulfillment through activating our true potential. To renounce what you cannot gain is not strength, it just makes you weaker. We aren't meant to settle for situations that suppress our evolution or authenticity. Finding contentment starts with gratitude and relies on self-honesty. Do you stop to ask yourself what you want is truly what you need? Is what I want truly what I need? Are you giving yourself wholeheartedly to life by following your inner guidance? Do you take time to play and smell the roses? And then there's a story shared through the great mystic Hafiz. Just staying connected, one ear outward, letting the words land, and one eye and ear inward in your own experience of your own body, your own breath, your own speech, your own emotions. Slowly, slowly. So Hafiz says, once a man came to me and spoke for hours about the great visions of God he felt he was having. He asked me for confirmation, saying, "Are these wondrous dreams true?" I replied, "How many goats do you have?" He looked surprised and said, "I'm speaking of sublime visions and you ask about goats?" And I spoke again, saying, "Yes, brother, how many do you have?" "Well, Hafiz, I have 62. "And how many wives?" Again, he looked surprised and said, 4. "How many rose bushes in your garden? How many children? Are your parents still alive? Do you feed the birds in winter?" And to all he answered. Then I said, "You asked me if I thought your visions were true. I would say that they were true if they made you become more human, more kind to every creature and plant that you know." So the invitation today in this meditation is to look within and discern where your sources of contentment lie. What makes you a happy and loving person? Begin to understand the motivations behind your desires and whether they are rooted in fear and lack or love and service. Skillful balance of being and doing, work and play, meditation and action, giving and receiving is what creates the dynamic state of contentment in our lives. The skillful balance of being and doing, work and play, meditation and action, giving and receiving is what creates the dynamic state of contentment in our lives. Find your center by balancing work and play, needs and desires. Accept yourself for who you are. There's only one being exactly like you in existence. So be grateful and celebrate yourself. Tuning into the body, tuning into the breath. So in our last 5 minutes of meditation, the practice for today is this, and you may choose to carry this practice forward, maybe even each day until our next meditation, or maybe you choose to do this practice for a month. Feel into if this feels useful to you. Trust your inner guidance. This is a gratitude practice. Look at the things that you have in your life and appreciate their presence. Take note of how it is contributing to life, yours or others, just by simply being what it is. You'll be surprised how things you once complained about are now things you can be grateful for. So, for instance, my practice lately, as I parent my teenage daughter for the first time in several years in person, is developing a sense of gratitude for being with her in person as she goes through the trials and tribulations of being a teenager, rather than being surprised or shocked at the mischief she can get into or complaining, and I still do that. I definitely still vent and complain. And it's not about shutting that part of ourselves down. It's just about also seeing, for me, wow, I've been asking to have a closer relationship with my daughter for 4 or 5 years now. And now I have this opportunity. And is it hard in moments? Absolutely. And can I see that this is perfect in this moment with all the messiness of life? And can I comfort my mama heart when it's worried? So, meeting yourself with kindness, with compassion, and seeing if you can start to shift your perception to maybe allow in the idea that maybe what's happening for you right now, even if it's messy, even if it's difficult, maybe this is your soul guiding you, and maybe this is the exact learning that you're needing for your own inner evolution, your own transformation. Because when we start to see these things we used to think were obstacles as this is part of my evolution, this is part of my awakening, it changes everything. So start, maybe the invitation, if you want to, is to start today by taking note of just two people or things in your life and bringing a sense of gratitude for them. If it's a thing, you might want to clean it or tune it up. If it's a person, you might want to simply express your appreciation to them. And then notice how you feel afterwards, after cleaning this beautiful crystal or stone you have, or piece of jewelry, or tuning your instrument, or telling your child or your friend or your partner or your mother or your father, thank you. Thank you for the ways you've impacted me. And then notice how you feel afterwards. And maybe it's something you just journal about if you don't want to, bring it into action in the way of like bringing it into the spoken word. Maybe you want to just journal and do a journaling practice. You may begin to notice that appreciation is a key to contentment. And then there's this beautiful Osho quote that we'll end on. So let yourself, the invitation is to let yourself receive this through your body. As a man, I'm going to say a person becomes a Buddha the moment they accept all that life brings with gratitude. I had a friend who passed away now, but he was a very wise man. And I remember once him saying to me, I always look for where's the gold? Where's the gold in this? And that's how he lived. So to complete our practice, bring this full circle and seal this container, sharing the fruits of our labors and with all beings. Let's send it out into the universe with 3 ohms. Breathing in. Feel the vibration in your body. Breathing in. May the fruits of our practice today spread outwards in all directions and help to end the suffering of all beings everywhere. Hmm. Good to be with you today.